In the last 4 months, we've been hard at work. We've completely changed how our destruction works. We've added multiple game modes like gun game and snipers only. We've added in-depth custom lobby settings like gravity, movement speed, and more, and lots of new effects, weapons, and other visual improvements. Now for those who saw my last video, welcome back. And those who are new, me and Rylan are developing a multiplayer FPS with destruction physics called Havoc. It was inspired by games like CSGO, Valorant, and Rainbow Six. The main idea of the game was for the competitive bomb diffuser mode to be our main focus, but over time we have transitioned to focusing more on purely fun features like multiple new game modes and custom lobby settings that let you play how you want. Our reasoning behind the transition is due to some issues that can occur when using peer-to-peer, which is when a player is acting as a server, which makes hacking easily achievable using peer-to-peer, as all server-side logic exists on the host, meaning all code can easily be altered to create cheats like aimbot or insta-kills. The solution to this would be dedicated servers, but those cost money and I'm broke. Anyway, let's start with one of the biggest changes, destruction. Since the last video, we have completely refactored the way destruction works, not only to make it more performant, but also more visually appealing. Our old system would rely on physics objects, which looked cool but came at a cost. The first reason for this was that adding physics to each fractured mesh would eat up quite a lot of performance, especially since a wall can consist of anywhere from 80 to 100 pieces. Because of this, I decided not to network the fragments and just simulate it on each client individually. This turned out to be a major headache, as pieces could be simulated slightly different on clients, causing multiple pieces to be at different positions from other players' point of view. Which means one person could possibly see through a hole in the wall, but another player's screen they won't be able to see that hole. Basically, the new system no longer uses any physics. At the base of the system, each wall contains two versions, a non-fractured version and a fractured version. When the non-fractured version is damaged enough, then the fractured wall will show. When you shoot a fractured piece, instead of being dislodged, it will destroy itself and spawn lots of cool particle effects. But this didn't look much better than the old system, so we got fancy and added some more details. We have multiple planes inside the wall whose shader allows us to use vertex colors to blend between damaged and non-damaged parts. This effect adds a lot more visual flair and looks way better than the simple jagged edges the fractured meshes had before. And this doesn't only apply to walls, we also use all of these new techniques on the destructible doors too. In addition to visual changes, the doors can also have locks on them now. These locks require bullets to break, making entry come at the cost of being heard. As I've said before, I'm not the only one working on this game. Rylan and I are working on Havoc together. Rylan has been able to add 6 entirely new weapons, visually overhaul the rocket launcher, and add a new defense utility. Now starting with the new weapons, we added an AK-47, a pump shotgun, an energy rifle, a P90, a suppressed pistol, and a double barrel. The old RPG model was in dire need of an upgrade, as it was old and outdated, also quite ugly, so Rylan completely remade the model and animations. Lastly, we added a new utility, the deployable wall. It can be used to block entrances, defend bomb sites, or provide cover wherever you may need it. It can also be used in some spots to boost you to previously unreachable areas. Now moving on to maps, we recently added a new map, Village. It's inspired by Berber villages in Algeria as a tribute to our friendly neighborhood Algerian, Monsta.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! It's Spider-Man! It's Spider-Man! Spider-Man!
It's a pretty small map with a focus on verticality. Since it has no bomb sites, it cannot be played on bomb diffuser. Now our only map which works with Bomb Defusal, which itself is a remake of our original river map, has had some major changes. After each of our various Discord playtests, Rylan has gone in and tweaked little by little to make improvements. He's done things like providing more destruction spots, changing timings, blocking sightlines, and even adding entirely new pathways. Another major add-on into Havoc was game modes. As I said before, we're no longer pushing for only competitive bomb defusal, so adding multiple new game modes felt like the next logical step. We added fun popular game modes that do well in other games like Team Deathmatch, Free For All, Sniper Only, and my personal favorite, Gun Game. Even with all these new game modes, I still think of Bomb Diffuser as our main one. Lastly, with game modes, we also added the ability to customize each mode with various lobby settings. These settings include the ability to change gravity, movement speed, accuracy, and more. Now if you guys do have any more suggestions, let me know in the comments and maybe I'll add them. With all these additions, polishing and adding game feel is something that always has to be done. During playtest, we thought it would be cool to make getting kills a lot more satisfying. To achieve this, we added Dismemberment. Based on the source of damage, anything from limbs being lopped off to entire bodies exploding is now possible. The way it works is like this. When killing someone with a high damage weapon, depending on where they were hit, you could shoot limbs off, knock the head off, or even remove their entire upper body. If someone is dealt enough damage all at once, like from an explosion, their entire body will be dismembered, ripping them to pieces. The system was fairly easy to create. As Rylan handled the art sighting by cutting up the player meshes into separate limbs, I handled the programming. When shooting a limb, the client tells the server which limb was shot. From there, each client will recreate the dismemberment effect. For example, if the forearm was shot, then the bone located on that limb will shrink to size 0. Then we spawn a stub on the limb's parent bone, in this case it would be the upper arm, to give it the effect of the limb being torn off. After, we simply spawn in a dismembered version of the limb and all of its child limbs. Lastly, we add force to each piece based on the direction the shot came from. Aside from dismemberment, Rylan remade our impact effects. Before, every surface had the same lame effect when shot. Now, we have different effects for glass, wood, metal, concrete, and dirt. He also completely remade our muzzle flash effect, while I added responsive smoke identical to what's seen in CS2, which opens in response to bullets and explosions. The UI has also been improved with some cool additions. Our name tag and player outlines have been updated, so you can always see where your teammates are and easily see who's an enemy. We added a visual indicator to the UI to let you know when you're being tracked by a radar grenade, and we added a recap when you die that tells you how much damage you received and gave out. Also, we added pinging, which puts a marker on a location to help warn teammates. And in the main menu, we added a loadout screen, where you can inspect and equip any skin you own, as well as a new and improved server browser that lets you see the current lobby settings for each server before joining. And lastly, in the settings menu, we added some basic crosshair customization for those who don't like the default crosshair, or if you just want to make a hideous monstrosity. There are also some other minor changes that I think are important enough to show off. In the span of the time after the last devlog, we added things like voice chat, an in-game chat that lets you either talk to everyone or just your team, and the terrorist is no longer just a reskinned CT, he has a cool red scarf and a nice visored helmet. Well, alright guys, that's it for this video. Make sure to like, subscribe, and join our Discord to join our playtest and receive more updates. See ya!